Good evening, everybody. My name is Tendel Sharngu, and I'm the president of the Capital Area Tibetan Association, the organizers of this event. I'm so happy that you're all here and able to join us in this, I'm sure, a spectacular evening of music brought to you by the premier institute entrusted in preserving Tibetan performing arts. And they've been doing a marvelous job for the past 60 years since it was established in 1960. I extend a special welcome to our guests from the Office of Tibet, the International Campaign for Tibet, and Venerable Shinsa Rinpoche, Venerable Khenpo Samdup, the directors of Voice of America and Radio Free Asia Tibetan Services, the director of the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, Professor B.N. Hebar, who is the Executive Vice President of the International Buddhist Association of America, and Father Donald J. Rooney. Father Don is the pastor of the St. Bernadette School and Parish of Springfield, Virginia, and the National Director of the Office of Ecumenical and Interreligious Affairs of the Catholic Diocese. And through Father Don's generosity, our next major event with His Eminence, the 7th Kyabje Yongzin Ling Rinpoche, will be held at the St. Bernadette School in Springfield, Virginia on August 24th and 25th. And when we talk about generosity, I must acknowledge our community members who have volunteered countless hours and enabled a sustainable growth of our organization since we've been in the DC area for the past 20 plus years. The Capital Area Tibetan Association, commonly known by its acronym CATA, is a 100% volunteer-driven nonprofit organization. CATA has been the binding force that keeps the Tibetan community together in the DC metropolitan area. We've been resilient in our steadfast commitment to preserving our unique cultural, language, and spiritual heritage. We organize events to celebrate and commemorate major Tibetan events. We also have a successful weekend Tibetan language class for 40 kids that's overseen by an elected PTA and taught by 6 volunteer teachers. As Tibetan Americans, we feel fortunate to live in this great country where we have the freedom to practice our religion, be proud of our heritage, and responsibly engage in political activities, which unfortunately is not the case in our homeland, Tibet. It is through the values and beliefs of our homeland and of our spiritual leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that we have been able to sustain a peaceful and just path in our efforts for a resolution for Tibet. Meanwhile, organizations like ours are actively engaged in activities to preserve our precious language, culture, and spirituality, and the teachings of our spiritual leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, stands as a guiding principle. And I'm proud to share that recently, we have had a historic moment in our organization with the purchase of a property in Fairfax as the Tibetan Cultural Center. We feel the importance to see through that this cultural center succeeds because His Holiness the Dalai Lama himself blessed us with the seed money when CATA organized the Kala Chakra Initiation for World Peace in 2011. He bestowed a precious name for this cultural center as Kangjong Churi Targe Ling that can be loosely translated as the Center for Flourishing of Tibetan Spirituality and Culture. This Tibetan Cultural Center serves as a hub for our small community to gather. We hope to eventually have the weekend Tibetan language classes held at this center instead of having to rent outside facilities. And in the next few months and years to come, we plan to renovate the building to accommodate more people, which will enable us to create programs for those who are interested in Tibetan arts, culture, religion, and language. For our ongoing fundraising activities and renovation efforts, our community members gave us a boost by donating their time and money generously, which gives us the moral support to carry on. And I thank you so much for it. In the future, I hope many of you will be able to join us at our events and hopefully at a revamped Tibetan Cultural Center. Last but not least, I would like to thank all our volunteers and my colleagues on the board and the members of the Housing Committee for your help in organizing this event. I also thank the Office of Tibet and the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts for giving us this opportunity to showcase the beauty of Tibetan culture shared through the form of performing arts to our friends in the capital area. So I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Ngawang Yunten, who is the director of the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts. Thank you all and enjoy the evening.
I'm very happy to see a lot of non-Tibetans who are friends of Tibet in Virginia. So I just wanted to briefly touch upon why Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts is visiting North America this time and what is the few purposes of visit here. So the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts is the premier Tibetan institute in India, which was set up by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, merely after arriving in India after 4 months. The institute was established on August 11, 1959. So we have a plan to celebrate our 60th anniversary in October of this year in India, Dharamshala. And during the last 60 years, we have trained more than 500 artists who are well efficient in Tibetan, especially in Tibetan performing arts and also Tibetan opera we call Thamo. So most of the Tibetan artists who are graduate, those more than 500 are mostly settled in North America and also in Europe. So one of the purposes of visiting North America this time, especially in the East Coast, is to reconnect with our former artists of our institute. And the second part is that many Tibetans now live outside India, Nepal and Bhutan, especially the youngsters. So we wanted to show our performance to our Tibetan youngsters and in outside India, Nepal and Bhutan. So that's why we visited 4 different cities in North America. We started from Toronto, Canada. We also visited New York, now here in DC, one here. And day after tomorrow, we have a program in collaboration with the Office of Tibet. And the last performance we'll have in Boston. And the other purpose is to have have a little fundraising for our institute. Although we have different programs in our institute which are well sponsored from outside, different including from America, USAID, but then we need the administration expenses and something, and that's why we wanted to have a little fundraising event. So these 3 are the main purpose of our visit here. And during our visits, the main support is the Tibetan Association here in DC area, capital area Tibetan Association, including New York and Boston and Toronto. We have a support from various Tibetan association, and including we have many former artists settled in those part of where we visit. So they have been supporting us very well. So and the purpose of our institute is to preserve and promote especially the Tibetan opera and including Tibetan traditional dance and music. And you will also see now our performance. We have 10 to 12 beautiful performances from the best of the performing artists from our institute. So with this, I wanted to end and thank you all for support. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pema, and I will have the pleasure of being your MC for tonight. For those of you who have seen TIPA perform in the past, you know we are in for an extraordinary performance tonight. And for those of you who are new to TIPA, or perhaps new to the Tibetan performing arts, you will be witnessing the very best today. TIPA is a world-renowned institute that has been entrusted with preserving and celebrating Tibet's unique tradition of performing arts. As mentioned earlier, TIPA was established by His Holiness the Dalai Lama within the first 4 months of His Holiness's escape to India in 1959. His Holiness's swift and decisive action to preserve Tibetan culture in exile is a testament not only to his foresight and vision, but also how critical he deemed preserving Tibet's ancient culture to be. And this goal is now more critical than ever. As Tibetan culture and identity face eradication inside Tibet today because of the Chinese occupation, we must do what we can in exile to preserve Tibet's rich cultural heritage. So thank you for being here today and showing your support. So without further ado, let's begin tonight's performance. Prior to each act, I'll be providing a brief introduction to provide some historical and cultural context to the performance you'll be seeing. The first performance is Saikya Shejin Meto Chöba. Saikya is located in the Tsang province of Tibet and is one of Tibet's 4 major religious traditions. It rose to play a significant role in the development and spread of the new tantras that came to Tibet in the 11th century. This particular dance form has a magnificent step, colorful attire, and dancing to some melodious tunes accompanied by powerful lyrics. or Amdo, is located in northeastern Tibet. The beautiful landscape of Amdo is known for its expansive steppes, horses, cattle, sheep, and yaks. The people in Amdo are generally known for their scholarly works. This next dance is a circle dance and is usually performed on Sagadawa, the most sacred of Tibetan Buddhist holidays, when Tibetans celebrate the birth, enlightenment, and peri-nirvana of the Buddha Shakyamuni. The dancers here communicate their wish to be born over and over again in this beautiful region. The next performance is called Markham Chapshe Tsiring Tomo. Markham has for centuries been a strategic crossroads town on the salt and tea trade routes between Tibet and China. The region is equally known for producing great artists, as dance and music have so much importance to religious worship, spirituality, and festivals. This particular song extols the beauty of Markham region and narrates the cultivation of relationships based on love and compassion between people of all ages. The next performance will be Ngari Macha, a popular folk dance from the region of Ngari. The lyrics were composed by Tangdong Gyabo, and this particular song is about repaying the kindness of one's parents. The performers in the dance imitate the agile movements of a peacock to entertain the audience. Next is a group dance from Hoga in southeastern Tibet. Hoga is often regarded as the birthplace of Tibetan civilization. This group dance is part of major festivals, as the song rejoices and reveres one's parents for their unconditional love and affection. Most Hoga dances have quick stepping moves reflecting the youthful exuberance of the people. Reba is traditionally performed in eastern Tibet, where it evolved over 900 years ago. The muscular men travel with female counterparts to perform in the villages. Their dances are usually very acrobatic and robust. It is believed that their songs and dances bring good fortune to the villages they perform in. At this stage of the program, TIPA's director would like to thank CATA, the organizers of tonight's event. If the director could please come on stage, as well as the members of CATA board. If the members of the CATA board could please come to the stage. TIPA would also like to recognize many of the ex-TIPA members who currently reside in DC. If the following could please come to the stage. Dashi Yangzomla, Gama Genzela, Migma Chodzomla, Dashi Wongjula, Dechen Yangzomla, Gesan Chabala, and Yangjin Drogala. Next is a ritual stage purification dance that is performed before the commencement of every folk opera. The masked characters who do the dance represent the deity Vajrapani. The girls, wearing the 5-paneled crowns with large rosettes at the ears, serve as a chorus. They represent dakinis or goddesses. At the end of the dance, everyone on stage tosses handfuls of tsamba or barley into the air to worship the gods for the welfare of all sentient beings. Next, I'd like to welcome Tenzin Sedubla, a student in the senior class of the local Tibetan language school. As mentioned earlier, the local Tibetan community runs a Tibetan school to promote and preserve the Tibetan language and culture among the younger generation of Tibetans. Children aged 5 to 18 meet weekly to learn about Tibetan language, religion, and culture. The school is run entirely by volunteers from the local Tibetan community. The teachers and administrators selflessly dedicate their time and energy and have been doing so for years. The school has done an incredible job, and Tenzin Sedubla is here to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank everyone. It means so much to us, so much to me, that people are willing to take time out of their weekends to come support our community. I'm a proud and grateful student of our local Tibetan community school. During that 2 hours, we learn our language, we learn about our culture, and as His Holiness, the Dalai Lama constantly mentions, a culture that's based on compassion and kindness and love and altruism. A brief history lesson, bear with me. So after 1959, after His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, arrived in India due to the invasion of the People's Republics of China, one of his first mandates, was the establishment and the foundation of the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, TIPA. He understood the importance of preserving our culture and heritage, but more importantly, more significantly, he understood the importance of the performing arts. Our grandparents, the suffering and the hardships our grandparents faced while seeking asylum in India was immense. They left their countries, they left their homes behind without even saying goodbye, because of the risk that they might lose their lives. But during the music, during the performance arts, during the dance, during that time, they can come together and share that moment and have that experience of bliss, just one moment of bliss. That's why TIPA represents far more than just a group of men and women singing and dancing together. No, they represent hope. They represent our fight for freedom. They represent the fight against human rights violations in general. Thank you so much, TIPA, for all your effort and for the lovely performances. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Sedubla. Next, Tendola, CATA's president, will offer a CATA or ceremonial scarf to the TIPA director and all the artists as a gesture of appreciation for their incredible performance today. Thank you, everyone. This brings an end to tonight's performance. We hope you enjoyed this evening of Tibetan culture, and thank you for coming out tonight. Please join me in a final round of applause for all the TIPA artists.